Okay, so no, crossing the border isn't it's not a crime. It's a civil offense for one. So
okay, but that makes it a crime. Civil offenses are illegal. You're not allowed to commit a civil offense because it's against the law.
Does that make it a crime?
Yes.
A criminal offense?
Yes. No, it doesn't make it a criminal offense. It just still makes it a crime.
Hold on. Let's do some Google real quick because I want to be sure of myself. Are civil offenses
Opus saying being quote being persecuted by who? I'm sorry, Opus. Can you give a little more context to what you're asking? I'm not really sure of that.
Let's not move too forward because I still got to address something you said. But real quick, no, civil offenses are not the same as crimes. You can Google it right now. That's not the case.
You said it's not illegal. You're removing the goalpost. You first said
we could rewind it, but that's not what I said. I said it's not a crime. Do you want to make a bet? Because I could use some money.
No, I mean I trust you. If I misheard that, fine. But
don't trust me. Don't trust nobody, bro. You watch Yellow Jackets, you know.
I trust that if I didn't trust that you were going to sit here and not lie to me, then you wouldn't be here.
Okay. So the other thing that he had said that I need to address when he said it's been proven. So this is I think this is again what ties into like the expert conversation that we're going to have. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding on how the system actually works. So the document that people are citing where it says he's proven that he's MS-13 was a bond hearing determination. A bond hearing determination is just going to tell you why you were denied bond. It isn't going to be an adjudication of what you actually did or what you actually are. If you look at the actual bond determination and what that was based on, it was based on a double hearsay account from an unnamed informant saying that he was Trendy Aragua, which the judge who granted him withholding even said that there are problems with this hearsay document that don't add up. For instance, they were saying he was a gang member in New York. He had never been to New York. They were saying that his tattoos or his clothing represented MS-13. It was like a bull's hat. And it was like a hoodie that like a lot of people, if you just be around like hood niggas, like that's just shit that they wear, bro. Like it was some insane shit that even the judges said weren't convincing. Even the one that didn't grant him bond said that a lot of the information in that document didn't even make sense. But
so if you were gonna start a gang and you wanted to have symbols so that everybody knew what the gangs were, but then you start to realize, oh, if we're this blatant about our symbols, then we're gonna get arrested because the cops are gonna be able to directly tell. So let's have symbols on symbols on symbols. And so when you put these things together, not one of these things on its own is evidence. But you see, you have the hat with the horns that you can only get if you do this. You got the teardrop. You got the things on your fingers that you got to earn from killing people. All this stuff. When you put it together, that is how court works.
You're right, but that was never adjudicated in court. So
let's go to
what's your no. Don't skip because I want you to tell me what the problem with that is. That you just made up a scenario that
because we've already discussed
if he was a gang member.
If
he was a gang member, either it's explicit things that he has or it's some super hidden thing that he has to do. You're making up the scenario in order to justify the fact that the courts said that all of that evidence that you just mentioned wasn't even convincing.
I disagree with that. Like I
disagree with the fact that the courts
disagree that it's not convincing. I disagree with the fact that it's not convincing.
Okay, well, the courts disagree with you, and the courts that granted him withholding said that in the actual determination.
And the courts are the experts, so we can only trust what the courts say, right? The court is always right.
To be fair, you don't know anything about the case, so for you to make that determination blindly, why should we trust what you're saying about it?
You're not trusting me. You're trusting the people in the government who are handling this stuff, who are working in gang units, who are working. Tom Homan, who is on the border doing this stuff. It's not me. I wasn't the one who said, okay, Kilmar, you're out.
Why do you trust them?
Because I believe they have the same goals for getting these people out of the country for the sanctity of our culture.
Do you think that...
Not because they're good people or because I want to have a beer with them?
No, I'm not saying that. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. We're talking strictly legally. I'm talking about the idea that they are purveyors of truth. If they were to have said something that was blatantly a lie regarding an immigrant or multiple immigrants that they've deported, would that make your trust be a little... Would you tap into skepticism mode at all?
So if they say... Run that by one more time.
If they were to say something that was blatantly a lie regarding one of the immigrants or a few of the immigrants, and it's like objectively wrong, would that make you like be like, I should be more skeptical of them instead of just trusting that they say it's, even though I haven't read read the cases.
Yes, that would make me want to be more skeptical.
Okay, you're positive though.
Yes.
You're not just gonna like go back. Okay, so there's a few of these cases. There's a few of these cases that are important.
Okay, so let's grab some of these comments and then we'll get back into it. So Bambi said, expedited removal is a form of summary deportation. It allows the Department of Homeland Security to deport non-U.S. citizens immediately and without a formal hearing under U.S. immigration law. People who can be deported by expedited removal are those who entered the U.S. without valid documents, obtained entry by actual or attempted fraud or misrepresentation. Two, people in expedited removal proceedings people in expedited removal proceedings do not have the right to a hearing in front of an immigration judge. But if they are still allowed to stay, they still are allowed to stay in the U.S. if they are a U.S. citizen, a lawful permanent resident, a green card holder, or a lawful refugee or asylee, or they have credible fear of persecution or torture if they return home. So the idea here is that the expedited removal process is already a part of the law.
No, it doesn't supersede the Constitution and their right to actual due process, which is what the actual Supreme Court agreed and ruled that needs to be done, even with the AEA that Trump is using to deport these people. So yeah, they're just wrong. If you think that certain statutes supersede the Constitution, you don't understand the law. And you're allowing people to abuse these laws in order to do whatever they want, even to people that don't apply. And that's a problem because it's, for me personally, every time that I hear this stuff, it's like, bro, it really does feel like the skepticism is either contrarianism or just team sports. It doesn't seem like, okay, now that our people are in the government, I'm going to be as equally skeptical because I know that people I don't know could also abuse my trust. It feels like people, instead of actually looking at the Constitution, actually reading the laws, actually looking at the individual cases.
If you want to start a podcast, bro, you can start a podcast. We're going to have a conversation here.
Yeah, I'm responding to it. You could respond to what I'm saying.
I tried to, and then you talked over me.
A little long-winded.
That's fine. That's why I'm letting you talk. But when I jump in, then you got to let me talk too. So I don't even remember what you were saying.
Go ahead.
I don't remember what I was saying. The fact of the matter is that there are these things are being challenged in court, and you can say that these things are unconstitutional, but there's other people, legal scholars, immigration scholars, government scholars, people that are saying no. And so while it's not about being in the cult or, rooting for my team or this, that, or the other. It's about the fact that that I've always had an issue with there being too many illegal immigrants here. And so, yeah, I mean, if the worst thing that I've ever done is, be a little bit overzealous on keeping our country, then I'm guilty.